and we're talking about the next correlate, which is strengths and virtues. Now, this is the Chinese character for virtue. It's pronounced de, as in Homer Simpson, I think he's de, you know? And it's a very similar pronunciation, although he might not be the most virtuous person in the world. And this Chinese character, on the left-hand side, this actually, and I'm sure you know that Chinese characters have various components. And this particular one has 3 major components, and they're all symbolic. The left-hand side means action, is related to action. This is related to upright. It means something about upright. And the bottom one actually points to the 2 sides of the heart, 2 ventricles of the heart, and it actually means heart. So action, upright, heart. So the original Chinese character for virtue, or de, means action in accordance with the upright heart. It's Martin Seligman who really highlighted the link between strengths, virtues, and happiness. And it's kind of a long story, and I'll make it very short. But during your course, what I recommend is that when you do the readings, focus on, and of course Perma's, you know, his second major sort of bestseller. But my feeling is you can get a really good handle of his thought if you look at the pleasant life, good life, and the meaningful life. Because the pleasant life includes the what's it called? The field of emotions. So in other words, positive emotions about the past, present, and future. So if you have gratitude about the past, if you're able to enjoy the present and have hopeful feelings about the future, then according to Martin Seligman, you're experiencing the pleasant life. So all his teachings about emotions are related to the pleasant life. When the good life is about you know, discovering your strengths and virtues, and when you discover your strengths and appreciate what they are, then you're experiencing the good life. But you're not only appreciating your strengths, but you're applying them, you know, in what you do. So, for example, some of you might have heard of the links between this how do I call it? It's you know, there's this famous distinction between occupations, jobs, and careers. Sorry, occupations, careers, and callings. An occupation is when you really haven't discovered your strengths. You're just doing the job because you've got to do it. You've got to make money. And then careers are when you find your strengths and you're applying them. And callings, when you discover your calling, it's more related to the meaningful life. You get so carried away with what you're doing that you forget about the money. You sometimes forget about the money aspect, and your job, you transcend your job basically. So, for example, a teacher who gets very involved with their students might forget about the time and teach past the allotted time for the class, or they might get involved with a problem that students are involved in and go out of their way to connect them with counselors and this kind of thing. So the meaningful life is when you take your strengths and virtues and you use them for a greater purpose than your own. And here's the definition. The meaningful life, which is the happiest kind of life, is when you discover your unique strengths and virtues and you use those gifts for a purpose that is greater than your own personal goals. So sorry about the phone. There's a phone beeping near me and I can't even see it, but I'm not interested in that. There's a lot about strengths and virtues and happiness in philosophy, and we don't have time to cover that, but you will in the course of the course. And Aristotle talks about it, not surprisingly. So strengths and virtues, the bottom line. And I've included this photo. I imagine that this teacher is gone volunteering and she's somewhere in Ghana or Cambodia, and she's in the vacation and she's teaching math to kids, and she's not making any money, but she's wildly happy about it, and that's become her calling.